Hello all, welcome to Dental Notes and Mnemonics. Today we are going to discuss about the motor neurons and their lesions. So without any delay, let's get started with the video. The motor neurons are specialized nerve cells responsible for transmitting signals from the central nervous system to the muscles, enabling voluntary and involuntary movements. They are divided into two main types. The first is the upper motor neuron and the lower motor neuron. Upper motor neurons are located in the brain and the spinal cord, and they initiate and regulate voluntary movements by transmitting impulses to the lower motor neurons. And the lower motor neurons found in the spinal cord and the brainstem, they directly innervate the skeletal muscle to execute movement. Damage to these lesions can result in motor neuron lesions, which are categorized as upper motor neuron lesions or the lower motor neuron lesions, and the clinical features and the consequences of these lesions vary significantly, which we will be discussing in coming slides. To understand more clearly the difference between the upper motor neuron and the lower motor neuron, then upper motor neuron, up means it leads. These neurons are like messengers. They start in the brain, specifically in the motor area, and send signals down the spinal cord or brainstem. They don't directly make muscles move. Instead, they pass the command to lower motor neurons, which are like the workers. When they receive the signal from the upper motor neuron, they make the muscle contract and create the movement. So, upper motor neuron leads the signal from above and lower motor neuron execute it at the muscle level. This is why the mnemonic up leads and the lower executes help in remembering their roles. Let's discuss the divisions of upper motor neuron and the lower motor neuron. Then upper motor neuron have two main tracts. The first is pyramidal tract, which is a direct pathway and it controls the voluntary movements. And the second is the extrapyramidal tract, which are indirect pathways and they help to coordinate and refine movements and also control the reflexes. Extrapyramidal tract is a direct pathway from the brain to the spinal cord or the brainstem. It handles the voluntary movements, meaning actions you decide to do, like picking up a glass or walking. Think of it as a straight highway where the signals travel quickly and directly to make movements happen. The second is the extrapyramidal tract, that is the indirect pathway for the brain. It helps with the tasks like coordination, balance, and reflexes. Instead of traveling straight, the signals pass through the multiple areas like tegmentum to refine the movements. Pyramidal tracts are further divided into two tracts. The first one is the corticospinal tract, which sends the signals from the brain to the spinal cord and it controls the muscles in the body. The second tract is a corticobulbar tract, which sends signals from the brain to the cranial nerves in the brainstem and it controls the muscles in the face, head, and neck. The tract crosses to the opposite side at the level of medulla, and this is why the left side of the brain controls the right side of the body, vice versa. Extrapyramidal tracts are involuntary tracts, and the main tracts in this category are rubrospinal tract, reticulospinal tract, vestibulospinal tract, and tactospinal tract. So remember a mnemonic: pyramids are direct and extras are indirect. The pyramids refer to the medullary pyramid, where the pyramid tract runs directly, and extrapyramidal is the extra because it is more complex and does not pass directly through the pyramids. So by remembering this mnemonic, you can associate pyramid is having direct control and the extrapyramidal are indirect help to the pyramidal tracts. Now we'll talk about the lower motor neurons. The lower motor neurons are located in the anterior horn of the spinal cord and the cranial nerve nuclei in the brainstem. Lower motor neurons are present in the anterior horn of spinal cord and also cranial nerve nuclei present in brainstems. On the other hand, lower motor neuron can be classified into somatic, those which control the voluntary skeletal muscles, brachial, which control muscles in the face, throat, or the neck, and those are visceral, which help to regulate involuntary actions like digestion and heart rate. Now we will discuss the motor neuron lesions. Motor neuron lesions can occur due to stroke, traumatic brain or spinal cord injury, multiple sclerosis, brain tumors, spinal cords lesion, and infections. While the lower motor neuron lesions may be due to the peripheral neuropathy as it occurs in the diabetes, Guillain-Barré syndrome, spinal cord injuries, reticulopathy, and the infections. The key difference between both these lesions are that upper motor neurons cause spasticity and hyperreflexia, while the lower motor neurons result in flaccidity and muscle atrophy. In case of upper motor neuron, the weakness in the muscles occur because upper motor neuron can't send effective signals to lower motor neurons, leading to weak muscle movement. Or in case of lower motor neuron lesions, it causes complete paralysis because these neurons that directly innervates the muscle is damaged, leading to no muscle movement at all. In upper motor neuron lesions, the muscle tone is increased or spasticity occur due to lack of inhibition from the upper motor neurons. But on the other hand, the lower motor neuron lesions show the decreased muscle tone or flaccidity because the lower motor neurons are not able to activate the muscles. Talking about the reflexes in both the lesions, then upper motor neuron lesions, hyperreflexia happens because they cannot regulate reflex activity properly, leading to exaggerated reflexes. On the other hand, lower motor neuron lesions, they present with hyporeflexia because due to the loss of neurons which are directly responsible for the reflex actions, leading to weak or absent reflexes. In case of upper motor neuron lesions, the mild atrophy occurs because of the disuse of affected muscles due to its weakness. In case of lower motor neuron lesions, severe atrophy happens because the muscles are no longer getting nerve signals from the neurons, leading to muscle wastage. No visible fasciculations can be seen because in lower motor neurons, they are not directly responsible for activating the individual muscles, while on the other hand, in case of lower motor neuron lesions, fasciculations are common because these neurons are damaged and can cause spontaneous twitches in the affected muscles. In case of upper motor neuron lesions, the Babinski sign is positive, where the toe fan out in response to stimulation, indicating upper motor neuron dysfunction. In case of lower motor neuron, the Babinski sign is usually absent or normal, as these neurons do not affect the response. Nucleus is defined as the rhythmic contractions due to overactive reflections in case of upper motor neurons, and it is absent in case of lower motor neurons because these are not involved in overactivity of reflex arches. In case of upper motor neuron lesions, spastic gait occurs with stiff muscles, making it hard to move the leg, resulting in dragging movement. On the other hand, a flaccid gait can be seen in lower motor neuron lesions because these muscles are weak and cannot contract, causing a limp walk. Function may be partially lost in case of upper motor neuron lesions because the signal is weakened but not completely blocked, and in case of lower motor neuron, there is total loss of the function. No sensory loss typically occurs in upper motor neurons, as these are not responsible for the sensations, but there may be sensory disturbances if the sensory pathway is affected. On the other hand, sensory loss may occur in the lower motor neuron lesions if the sensory nerve fibers are damaged along with the motor fibers. Please go through these charts, as I have provided tables to easily memorize the difference between the upper motor neuron lesions and the lower motor neuron lesions. About the motor neurons and their lesions. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and leave any questions you have in comment below. See you in the next video. Till then, bye bye, take care, have a nice day.